Deep in the Siberian taiga, one mistake can cost you everything. What starts as a traditional hunt in one of the harshest places on Earth quickly turns into a desperate fight for survival.
A bear is charging.
This is Yakutia Outdoors. Today we're heading deep into the Aldan region during the first days of October to kick off the big game hunting season. Fall is hanging on, but the brutal Siberian winter is right around the corner. Egor, his son Gavril, and their buddy Valentin just arrived at their hunting camp. This land belongs to the Buya indigenous community. Egor has a deal with the local chief to help manage the wildlife out here in the taiga. Every year, Egor and his son come out here to hunt big game and trap for fur. The guys also help the community control the wolf population. Which does a ton of damage to the local wildlife. This year, Egor's crew is staying in a cabin right near the railroad tracks. A lot of people think the noise from the trains scares animals away and messes up their migration routes. But Egor doesn't buy it. He says the animals just get used to the train schedule and stick around their home turf. The tracks do have some impact, sure, but nothing crazy. And here's the proof. A massive brown bear just taking his time crossing the tracks. On one hand, it's pretty cool to see. On the other hand, it's a red flag. If a giant predator like a brown bear stops being scared of human stuff, what's going to stop it if it runs into people? Plus, the brush out here is super thick, which gives predators a lot of cover to ambush. Officially, bears are supposed to be pretty mellow in the fall and leave humans alone. We'll see about that. Our crew has tags for big game, specifically targeting wild caribou. Egor's got his own old-school way of hunting. He refuses to use dogs in the fall. He says dogs just spook the caribou. So Egor and Gavril are heading out on a new 3-day route, relying totally on themselves. They're packing light, only the bare essentials. The plan is to sleep under the stars in a makeshift brush shelter. The weather in early October is still pretty mild, barely any snow on the ground. Yesterday's dusting's already melted, and you can only see a little frost in the shadows. The Aldan region is basically a giant rugged plateau, which means you're constantly hiking up and down steep hills. The woods are mostly pine and larch trees. The ground is totally covered in wild blueberries, lingonberries, and bearberries. Hiking through this stuff is brutal. The ground is like a soft sponge and it just drains the life out of your legs. You have to take a lot of breaks just so you don't burn out. Going out into this deep, unknown wilderness without dogs is definitely a gamble, especially when you're constantly seeing fresh tracks from all kinds of animals. But Egor knows what he's doing. He hikes all these miles not just to hunt, but to scout. The territory is massive, and you can't learn it all in just a couple of seasons. Along the way, they hit an old wooden survey tower. Turns out there's a small lake right by it. Water sources are scarce around here, so animals hit this spot a lot. Egor drops a pin on his GPS. Right by the water, he spots fresh brown bear tracks. They've hiked about 4 miles from the cabin in a straight line. It's about that time for a break, and it turns out this is a perfect spot for picking wild blueberries. Lunchtime.
We're about 4 miles out from the cabin. Got roughly the same distance left to go. Let's grab a quick bite and keep moving. Want some sausage?
Suddenly, Gavril noticed something.
A bear is charging.
Insurance shot.
So he was following us after all.
The guys finally catch their breath. Those were probably the longest seconds of their lives. A literal brush with death.
At first I thought it was a moose.
This was totally unexpected.
Good thing we sat down to eat, or he would have caught us walking. Try sleeping in a tent after that.
He was coming right at us.
Usually, bears are super mellow in the fall. By now, they should be fat, happy, and ready for hibernation. They don't want any trouble. So this attack is really weird. One theory, the bear saw them as an easy meal because he was starving. But looking at him, this is a big, healthy male, easily 6 or 7 years old, weighing hundreds of pounds. His teeth and paws show he's been gorging on blueberries. He's perfectly healthy, so he wasn't starving. The more likely scenario? This bear had a food cache hidden nearby. He saw the hunters walking into his kitchen, saw them as a threat to his stash, and decided to attack first. When Egor checks the bear's stomach, he finds a ton of blueberries mixed with the remains of a caribou. Now they've got hundreds of pounds of meat they need to secure. They are building a traditional Siberian labaz, an elevated meat cache. They don't have nails, so it's all old-school bushcraft.
All right, we got the meat stashed. We call this a kolbo, basically a labaz on legs. To protect it from the weather, we wrapped it top and bottom with a tarp. You've got to have airflow in the cache, so we left gaps between the logs. But to keep the birds out, we stuffed those gaps with spruce branches. It drops below freezing at night, and once it gets a good, solid freeze, the meat won't have time to thaw out during the day.
It's getting late. They need to build their brush shelter before it gets completely dark. Sleeping out in the open tonight is going to be nerve-wracking. Every snapped twig is going to sound like another bear. And this guy wasn't the only bear in these woods. Egor says you're actually safer sleeping by an open fire than zipped up in a tent. Every predator out here respects fire. The sun finally comes up, bringing some much-needed warmth. The freezing night is behind them, but Egor and Gavril still have ground to cover. They need to finish their route and try to harvest a wild caribou. While it's still light out, they need to build a shelter for the night. That way, they can unload their heavy backpacks and set out from base camp with lighter gear to go hunting.
We got the new camp set up and the shelter built. To keep the noise down, we didn't chop any firewood yet. We'll do that later. Right now, we're going to head up this creek.
Out here, bears aren't the only dangerous animals you might run into. This is wolf scat. Yakutia has a huge wolf population, and the wolves in this region grow noticeably larger than in other parts of the world. But there are also plenty of signs of big game. Moose and wild caribou move through this area. Egor and Gavril head into the timber, spreading out just a bit. But they don't get far before Egor waves his son over.
There are caribou right over there. I just saw them. If we push up this way, it'll be perfect. The wind is blowing from over there, and they always walk against the wind. Let's head up this ridge. They didn't see me. They were pretty far out. Visibility is good right now. You can see for almost 300 yards. They were moving completely calm. Nature gave us a beautiful female. She doesn't have antlers, which means she didn't have a calf this year. We call a barren female like this a betahine. You don't run into these often during the fall season. Maybe one or two in a whole herd. The elders always said to look for this specific kind of caribou. Since she didn't have to nurse a calf, she's incredibly healthy and packed with fat. Look at the base of the antlers. They haven't even started to grow.
This is a truly valuable harvest. The meat of this caribou is incredibly rich and delicious, but the legs are just as valuable. This dark, thick fur will be carefully preserved to make unti, traditional Yakutian winter boots.
Caribou living in the deep taiga have much darker hides compared to those out on the open tundra. It takes about 8 of these leg skins to make a pair of women's boots, and around 6 for a kid's pair.
A highly valuable specimen has been harvested. The fresh caribou meat is immediately roasted over the open fire. The mission is accomplished. Now a long hike home awaits them. They load their backpacks with as much meat as they can physically carry. Egor will come back on a snowmobile in a month or two to grab the rest. On the hike back, just in time for a lunch break, they manage to bag a grouse, a bird prized for its incredible white meat. Gavril bakes the bird in foil in the coals, while Egor prepares something unique. He's roasting the caribou's muzzle directly over the fire. For the Yakut people, this is a highly respected traditional delicacy. Cooking these wild meals over an open fire and eating them right here in the taiga is the ultimate reward. You could call them lucky, but think about the challenges these hunters face, the dangerous situations they find themselves in, and the countless miles they have to hike. To survive out here, you need incredible stamina, bravery, and the heart of a true hunter. And most importantly, you need the blessing of Bayanay, the ancient spirit of the forest. Thank you for watching Yakutia Outdoors. If you enjoyed this hunt, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an expedition. We'll see you on the next adventure.